Welcome back to Diecast Rescue. Today we're going to have a go at restoring a Rolls Royce Phantom V made by Matchbox from the early 1960s. We're going to base a custom restoration of this car on one owned by Dave Hill of the Band Slade from the 1970s, which was gold and white. Now, apart from a lot of paint chipping, this car is actually in quite good condition and hasn't got any broken glass, and it has all its wheels. So let's get into it. So we'll start by drilling out the single rivet post with a drill. Now I'm just being careful that I don't actually drill out too much, so that's why I've speeded this up, because it actually took several minutes to do this. Now with the base plate removed, you can see it's not in bad condition at all. As is usual, cars feature a single piece of plastic which acts as a suspension, which is always bent, so this will be heat treated to straighten it out again. This is the underside of the interior, which we shall now remove. And this also acts as a means of holding the boot lid in place, the trunk if you're in America. So without the piece of plastic in place, the boot will actually detach. Although it had actually jammed in place when we were doing this. There you go, it's come out now. Now we're just going to drill at the single rivet which is holding in the glass of the car, which will take a few goes because we don't want to drill through the roof, so got to be careful. On this car it's not really such a rivet as two sort of lumps which have been pressed outwards to hold the plastic down. With a bit of drilling we're able to release the glass. Okay, now time for the fun messy bit. And again, you'll notice I did something I shouldn't have done. I put paint stripper on the tyres, because what happened was I was actually doing multiple cars at the same time, and for some strange reason I did it with several cars at once. I don't know, it was a Monday. I'm blaming that. And spoiler alert, paint stripper will destroy the tyres. Okay, so the paint stripper is doing its magic and is lifting the paint off the car, and you may notice I've hidden the wheels, the tyres, because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to reveal that in the video, but I shall show you in a little bit the effect that paint stripper has on tyres. So after the paint stripper's done its job and a bit of buffing with a fine sanding pad, it's come up real nice and shiny. Unfortunately I can't say the same of the tyres. So I think we'll agree that we'll decide that's a lesson learned, so don't put paint stripper on the tyres, and I won't tell anyone if you don't. Okay, so out in the garden shed, I'm just going to use a can of fairly cheap car gloss black paint to paint the base plate of the car. I'm only putting one coat on because it's really all you need, and the camera just won't focus when you want it to. It's all shiny now. Now I'm going to paint the car gold using a can of paint that was bought to paint a picture frame, and there's still plenty of paint left in it, and it's quite a nice gold, and it'll come up quite well. Now with cans of spray paint, it's a good idea to make sure you've shaken them well beforehand. And a little trick to get the paint going beforehand is to sit the can in a jug of hot water, which will help the paint to flow more quickly. Now I'll give the car 2 coats, but as you can see, it's going on very nicely. And this is a close-up of the can that I'm using, just to give you an idea of what the product is. Now I'm just going to wash the plastic components in soapy water to get all the muck and grime off them. And as you can see, the upholstery is very dirty, so there's obviously been quite a few weddings in this car. And we're just going to use a craft paintbrush to scrub the dirt out. Okay, so I'm going to use this silver polish or metal polish, which I got from my local hardware store, and I'm going to use that to just polish the scratches out of the windscreen. Now I don't have a Dremel or any kind of buffing tool, so I'm just going to have to rely on elbow grease, the old-fashioned way, to do this. So having washed the windscreen and polished it and washed it again, I'm now just going to dip it in some Astonish floor polish to give it that sort of glassy sheen. And I'll just leave the windscreen to dry on a piece of tissue paper covered with a little plastic container, just to stop it getting dusty whilst it's drying. Okay, so this is the next day and the paint on the car has been given 24 hours to dry properly. And what we're going to do is use a bit of Vallejo aluminium dabbed on a piece of plastic to act as a palette. We're going to use that to actually detail the car now by painting in the radiator grille, the bumpers and the headlights. This process took about 30 minutes, and so I've speeded it up here because otherwise it would not be very exciting watching. And yes, even though I have gloves, I keep forgetting to put them on, and I keep spraying my hand, hence my endlessly funky nails. Right, I think you'll agree that looks quite nice, and the colours come out really well on the car. Just painting the rear bumper, which I'd allowed the front of the car to dry before doing this bit, just in case there was a little accident. While researching this customisation, I realised that Dave Hill's original car had a white roof, so I've now masked the car up to spray the roof of the car white. Now I only have matte white available, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the matte white, thinned out a little bit in my airbrush. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to spray the whole thing with acrylic gloss varnish to restore everything to a gloss finish. For the car's interior, I thought the white plastic didn't look right, and looking at photos of Dave's car from the 70s, it appeared to have a leather interior. So I'm spraying the interior of the car a matte dark earth. I'm not going to put it on too thickly so it leaves some texture on the seats. Okay, so the white paint's dried, and now I'm just going to peel off the masking tape to see what sort of demarcation we've got between the white and the gold. As I said before, it's a bit like Christmas. When you're unwrapping a parcel, you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out, and that's what your paint job's going to be like. So hopefully, if nothing's run under the tape, and as I say, this Tamiya masking tape is very good for this purpose, and it's very good for small scale work. Yes, I am very slow at peeling tape off, but as you can see, it's coming off very nicely and the edges are looking good. There you go, I think Dave Hill would be very proud of that. It's looking good. Okay, so the paint's dried in the interior, and you can see I've tried to give that sort of faded leather look on the seats, which I don't think it's come out too bad. It's a bit chocolatey, but I'll just say it's dark leather. So here I'm just giving 2 coats of Vallejo acrylic gloss varnish to make the white roof match the gloss bodywork. Okay, so I have some replacement wheels which I've fitted to the chassis, the base plate of the model, and I'm just using a silver pen to just brighten up the ends of the axles to make them look a bit more shiny and new. I mean, any sort of silver pen will do, frankly. I mean, you can get silver Sharpies or other kinds of markers which will all do the same job. Now that we have all these components of the car completed, we shall now assemble it. So I'm just going to remove the screw from the body shell. And amazingly I'm wearing a glove because I'm just worried about putting a fingerprint in the gloss finish. So we'll fit the windscreen. This is actually held in place by the seats in the car. The rivet is actually not necessary. So now I'm just fitting the boot, the trunk, as some might say. It's quite a rough mechanism actually, the boot. It doesn't close very easily. I think it's just the way the thing's moulded. So now we'll just fit in the seating. This might take a couple of goes. I'm not realising it's got to sink in better than that. There you go, and I'm now realising my mistake. Now you can see the steering wheel through the windows. Now we're going to refit the suspension, which I've straightened out using a hairdryer and a little bit of bending. I'm just working out which way around to put it. So obviously the little fork goes around the rivet posts at the front. And now we'll fit the base plate, which has a tongue to hold it in one end at the boot end, at the rear of the car. And then we'll just reuse the screw where the rivet post was, and that'll make the car all secure and in one piece again. Just look at that glossy finish. Okay, so we'll fit the screw. Here's a little screwdriver just to get it in. It only takes like one turn, I think, to secure it well. There you go, one Rolls Royce Phantom V, customised to look like Dave Hill's Yob 1 from the early 1970s. And there you have it, Dave Hill's Rolls Royce, as you might have recognised it, in the Medium of Matchbox, obviously slightly cheaper. Dave's private registration plate was Yob 1, that's YOB 1, but I don't have the means to make number plates that small yet. I need to get some water slide transfer and experiment with that. But I think you'd agree, it's a very nice shiny golden car which catches the light well. Right, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please subscribe, drop me a like, and by all means comment. Thank you for watching.